Okay. The Medina's Ego. Shemavochem.
No, Yud you saying?
Yud, yeah.
Not Shemavochem. Shenoigen.
Shenoigen Leima. Atahu Ashraniver Oigum. Atu Mishaniver Oigum. So there was a different nusach that some people made. Because the problem is, if you say Atahu Shenivra or Shaloi Nivra, so it doesn't talk about the Eibishter. So something that the world was created and who created it. So therefore, Ein Rishanas HaNusach V'leima Atahu Ad Shaloi Barosa. So, Memvov. So some change it and they say the word Barosa, so then it goes on the Eibishter. Avo, so he said that you shouldn't do. To change the nusach from Nivra to Barosa, you shouldn't do that. Avo, he says, Masha Nogu Lachtem Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh Minoroi Hoya Shaloi Lachtem B'Shem. We don't say it without Hashem also.
Ashkenaz says it within Shem.
Kivan Shaloi Huskara Bracha B'Talmud Shalonu V'gam B'Talmud Yerushalmi Yesh She'en Gerson by Haskaras Hashem B'Chasima. In other words, some rely on a Yerushalmi, and the Yerushalmi it says with Hashem. So that's what they rely on, to say it with Hashem. So he says you can't rely on that because there's a question in the Yerushalmi itself how to be guided. If you guide us with Hashem or without Hashem. K'mashe tiknu ba'anoisen layoev koyach. In other words, ba'anoisen layoev koyach, he says that it's a new bracha. It's not one of the original brachas that the Anshe Knesset HaGedol were masaken, but it's a bracha that when they saw there's a weakening among the people, they added this bracha. Elakiven she nogu. In other words, not everyone says it because it's not from the original brachas, but the Geonim were masaken it. So he says, if you accept it, you want to say it, you can say it. Therefore, Haraitza Lizor Shlega Hakmas Atzmai L'Safik Bracha T'Safik Bracha L'Vatola Ma Yafa Hu Oisa.
That means if he doesn't say the bracha,
that doesn't say the Shem. Incidentally, yesterday when we were learning, so I mentioned that there's a place where there's parentheses, words that is parentheses.
yeah.
So I said that the reason was because the Alter Rebbe, when he was writing,
He's going to come back to
he
it.
wasn't firm on it, and he figured he'll come back later on it. So I was looking last night in the Shulchan Aruch, and I noticed in the back there's ha'aris in the Shulchan Aruch, and there's ha'aris here from the Maril, that was the brother of Alter Rebbe. So if you just want to know, it's on page 52 of the ha'aris. It says over here, the first piece, Shomati mipi Kodshay, Rabbeinu Hazaken, B'amim Rabbis. I heard from him many times. The Chol Sopik Sheb'Shulchan Aruch, Hamed B'Tei Chatzor Eagle. He put it into parentheses. V'datoi, his intention was, V'datoi Hoysa, Lachza, L'shanes, Prat Zeh, Lires Imtzot Kudvorov. So yeah, it's not something that they made up.
We have to tell that to Lipska.
Huh?
Have to tell that to Lipska.
Well, he doesn't agree with it.
No, he
Well, that's what they say over here, and they say that you can find it in the Shadis Yehuda. That's the Shadis Yehuda is a sefer that the Maril made. So
Well,
over there he
it's
brings
still
it.
written in the Shulchan, but you could say
Okay,
that.
just wanted to show it. It's not something that I heard from some Elter Chassid, you know.
Okay.
In Yudalef, he says, Al Pi Asad, that means according to Kabbalah, Yesh Loima, Posik, V'ani B'rev Chazecha, Kaidim Boy Beis HaKnesset. That's in Matayvu. Matayvu Lachei Moshe Zal Yisrael, V'ani B'rev Chazecha, Shach Kasher V'Yasachah. So he said, before you come to shul, you should say, "V'ani b'rev chazecha ave b'secha."
We say it.
We say it in Matayvu, the second pasuk. Matayvu lechi yakim
No, he says you say it in your house. He wants.
V'ani b'rev chazecha ave b'secha shachar kasher. He said that you should say it kaidem boy Beis HaKnesset, because he's going. The way our minhag is that we say brachos at home. We come to shul, we start with Haidu. And then, before we go in, that there's the minhag they made, they instituted a minhag, that they say brachos in shul. So he's saying that before you come to shul, say this pasuk. He doesn't say Matayvu, but we have it in Matayvu. Ubiknisasai, when he comes in to the shul, Yaim bebeis elikim nahalach beragish. Now, B'yikabel olav mitzvahs asay shall be hafta l'reacha kamaycha, which we have in our Siddurim, how to ever put into the Siddur. B'yesh mi shekabolu b'yadai, le'me pasha shma Yisrael, kish yoytze lebeisai, lebeisai knesses. We learned yesterday a whole question about the kleine shma Yisrael.
Right.
That there's, some say that with this, some say with the first pasuk alone, you yoytze shma Yisrael, and therefore you add Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus L'Olam V'Od, and you should think that if the shul will be late, so then I will be Yotze with saying the Shema Yisrael, and otherwise it should just be Kekayra B'Tayra. So when we say Shnaim 2 times a day, we say it. So it's just it could be just like Kaira B'Tayra, not to be Yotze. Or Moshe, he says, if you know that, like by Yosef Moshe Shabbos, we daven later, so Shabbos is already after the Zman Krishma. So once it's after the Zman Krishma, so you should say the whole the first and second and the third Pasha, even though the third Pasha is not a part of the mitzvah of Shema. But Vivaldi is saying the 2 Pashas, say the whole thing. Now he brings over here a posuk. He brings a posuk, B'beis Elokim Nahal B'Rogesh. What does it mean, B'beis Elokim Nahal B'Rogesh? That in the home of Hashem, we'll go with fear. The Rogesh is fear. So, first of all, I once heard a vault that B'Rogesh is a Rosh Tevis. The Rosh Tevis is, the base stands for Borod, which is hail. The Reish stands for Ruach, which is wind. The Gimel stands for Geshem. And the Shin stands for Shelik. In other words, a lot of people, if there's any little problem,
they
get
don't go.
in the shul. So basically, the Hala B'Rogesh
We'll go even
if these conditions are happening.
like the male.
Borod,
Like the male. Yeah.
Borod, Ruach, Geshem, and Shelik. An interesting thing is, in Pirkei Avos, in the 6th Perek of Pirkei Avos, is found out in a Braisa it says that if you learn from someone Torah, you have to be naib by covered. And it steht open, Sharei David HaMelech Lamed Mechitayfel Ella Shnei Dvarim Bilvad, right? And Korei Rabbi Alufa Miyudai. So they ask a question over there. The Forsherman Pikayavas is the question: why does it have to say the word Bilvad? Could have just said Sharei David Lamed Mechitayfel Shnei Dvarim and Korei, and he called him Rabbi Alufa Miyudai. So in the Gemara, if you look back of Sanhedrin where they have Pikayavas, Rashi over there says a very interesting thing. Rashi says, what were the two things that he learned from David, that David learned from Pikayavas? What were the two things? He says the two things were, one was that he saw David was sitting and learning without a chavrusa. So he told him that you have to have a chavrusa. That's one thing. The Gemara brings a pasuk for the Cherev al Abadim B'Noyalu that it doesn't gain in your achieving in learning when you learn alone. And the second thing was that he saw that David went to shul with Kaimas Kufa. Kaimas Kufa means like arrogant, you know.
With his head up.
So he told him, no, it's wrong. But Beisal Kim Nahara Berogish.
With your head down.
So Kumbais, now, what when he's learning, so Taicha is like, he learned from when he goes to Kaimas Kufa. What's wrong? He's a king. What's wrong? Teretz is, but when you go to Kaimas Kufa, it means that that's gaiva, like you're not recognizing that ain't able vade, right? So that's the Taich. Lamed Mechitayfel El Shnei Dvarim Bilvad about levad, learning alone, and not conducting yourself in a way of Einay Muvade. Okay. Now we'll go to סימן Memsayin. Dine Birchas HaTorah.
He learned in Eretz Yisrael? He learned by himself in Eretz Yisrael? Or
He was learning by himself in his house. I don't know. So it says as follows: Birchas HaTorah, tzorach lizoya boy ma'od. You have to be very careful with Birchas HaTorah. Why? Shleichav ha'aretz elav b'nei shaloi birchu b'Torah tchila. So that's a Gemara in the Dorim. That the Gemara said, Amechav ha'aretz. The Gemara, because the leibachu b'Torah tchila. Now, so what does it mean? Pashat, it means that they didn't make a bracha. They didn't make Birchas HaTorah. So he explains over here. Ufisha haisach hashuva beineim kol kach. Levarech oleho. Lekach hoya mezalzelim bebrachim. They weren't very serious about the bracha because they didn't think it's such a great thing to sit and learn Torah. Lochein loy higina aleim teirasam. The Torah did not protect
The
them.
Torah that they learned didn't protect them.
Alpha Pisha Askabot, they did learn Torah. Alpha Pisha Askabot, they learned a lot of Torah. Ukach, therefore, Yere Kol Adam, Shetia Kleichem Dosai Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehaya Mishtashea Bo, B'chol Yoim, Chashuva Be'einav Uvarach Oleh B'simcha. He said, this is the loving thing of the Eibishter, which the Eibishter plays with it every day. It's like his toy that he plays with. So you have to show. So if you make a bracha on it, so it shows that it's a chashur thing to you. On the food you make a bracha. Why? Because you know that thanks to the food it'll help you to exist. They didn't feel that Torah does something for them, you know. And Shazah Moira, this teaches you Sha'isik Ba'ushma, that he's learning Ushma. The Yiska, and he will be Zeicher, L'Shashalas, to the chain, Hanimshach Isaac bo gishmo. Shehu, what is the chain? What we say, God yamushu mipicha mipi daracha v'gaima. She tase sheilosai ubakashasai. The person is asking and is begging. Shemavakish b'bracha, shemavakish b'bichasa, v'niya anachnu tzatzainu. And he says over here, v'yesh medagdikin, v'hoyse b'tzatzoi tzatzainu. Ki kol shehu u'benoi u'ben benoi, tamil chacham, shuv ein Toidem besekas mizare. Ve'olam. Ve'ein tzorach lekach. You don't have to say b'tzatzoi tzorenu, ki b'chal tzorenu ein gamkein b'nei bonim. Our children means our families. So you don't have to say children and grandchildren.
So let's say you wake up middle of the night. Let's say
That we're going later over here. That we're going to learn about over here. Now, on this Indian, it's a Gemara in Bava Metzia. The Gemara in Bava Metzia says, Taira machzeres alachsan yeshua. Taira comes back like just like when people travel. So they you know, when they have when I come to California, I stay over here. So they don't every time already, whenever they come to California, it's their place already that they're familiar with. Taira machzeres alachsan yeshua. So same thing the Gemara says, that me, someone that's a benoi or ben benoi, is a Talmid Chacham, is someone is zeicher that benoi and ben benoi. So try to go about all generations. The Weltfrechter frag of them. We see different. We see many people who are big Talmid Chachamim, and their children they don't learn at all. So how come the Gemara says Taira Mazaz Achsan? So they once asked this to one of the Gedalim, I don't remember which one, the Chavis Chaim, and he answered, Taira Mazaz Achsan Yeshua, if you let it in. But if you close the door, then Taira can't come in. Okay. Tzarech uvarech, you have to make a bracha, bein lemikra, Levad, if you're only learning Chumash. Bein Mishnah Levada, if you're only learning Mishnayos. Bein Talmud Levada, if you're only learning Gemara. And Bein Medrash Levada, if you're only learning Midrashim. Shakol Toirahi, V'nitno L'Moshe Misinai. V'hamahara b'divrei Torah, if someone is thinking Torah, but he's not actually learning, Ein Tzorach L'Barak. He doesn't have to make a bracha. Hu adin sheyachal lifsak din b'loy nesinas tam l'dvarav. In other words, let's say someone comes early to the Rav and asks him a shayla. He says, I'm waiting the whole night to wait till you wake up. And you woke up, Rabbi, I want to ask you a question. And the Rabbi answers the question. Now the Rabbi may say to him, wait a minute, first I have to say Birchas HaTorah. Then I'll answer the question. So he says, no, that it depends. If the rabbi is explaining him why the din is and how they got to reach this din, then you have to make Birchas HaTorah. But if you're just answering mutter or asur, just a one-word answer, you can answer that even without Birchas HaTorah. So he said, "Hu adin sheyachal lifsak din, v'loy nesinas tam l'dvarav." Shezeu gam kein eino ela hiru. That's the equivalent of hiru. Hiru means where you're just thinking, you know. V'fi v'hiru lav kedibahu. Commercials by v'simen sama beis. That hiru is lav kedibu. So you're not saying any Torah.
I think the Machlokes is the Alter Rebbe and the Gra on this thing, if you do it or not. The Gra says even if you think you have to say it.
Now, in the next Siman, in Sif Gimel, in my edition, there's a mistake here. But somebody you is corrected. But Misha Yesh Misha She'oser.
The Bible says
right?
Amr.
Is it Samach?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
Well, you must have said Yesh Mishayma.
Yeah, man.
They corrected it.
Samach? Yeah, could be.
Huh?
Could be.
Yesh Misha Oisa Oshayma. There's there is an opinion. Shehakaisev b'divrei Torah. If someone is writing Torah, Avapi she'ena kaire, even if he's not reading anything. Marshal, when a cipher writes, so usually he write the Torah, he writes, he says the word also, right? So, but he's saying now, if someone got up in the morning and eingefahren a Chiddush by Nacht, so right away he wants to write it down. Yeah, or there's a Gemara that says that in Re'is Tzadik she'osa aveda balaylo al tahara achov bayayim, because bevada yosa tshuva, right?
Lo yahara.
Lo yahara, because bevada yosa tshuva. Or it says that's Stammat Tzadik. Then it says in Re'is Tzadik goma shova aveda balaylo al tahara bevada yosa tshuva. So,
If the guy is he saw, yeah.
how do you know Zichah that he did tshuva? So I once heard from Rabbi List, Shalom, that he teached that if you saw also available Laila, al Taharach Bayem, why? Because Bavade also tshuva at Zichah Ongeshim Tshuva to Matazan what he did. So B'mela, yeah. So B'mela, so now we're talking a person was sleeping, and in the night he was dreaming about something that he did, and there's an eingefallen a heta for what he did. So she goes and sits down. He writes it. He writes it. She says, "Yesh isha'ima sha'kaisa b'divrei Torah." Someone reads divrei Torah. Afa pi she'ena kaira, even if he's not reading. Tzarech uvarech.
He has to make a bracha.
So when is that? That is v'hu shekaisev svarim v'atzmai derech limuda. He's writing his own chidush Torah. U'mevin mashu kaisev, and he knows what is. So this is the svarim, even though he doesn't say anything verbally, but he know he's in his mind he
knows all
what he's saying about. So this day holds that's like learning, and therefore he says you have to make a bracha. Avo seifer hamatik ve'ena mevakesh lahavin. If a seifer who's writing and let's say like a translator, he just sits and translates this word from Hebrew to English. He doesn't even know what it says over there. He just knows that the word Omar is translated in the following way. So he says, Ein tzarech uvarech. V'chein im kaisev eizer pasuk b'igeres harashus. If someone's writing a letter, and the people when they write letters, there are people like to throw in a pasuk to give it some flavor, so to say. And he says that why does he do that?
Because of the puzzle.
Let's up. V'chein im kaisev eizer pasuk v'geres harashus. Not a title letter. Some letter with dover tzachas. In other words, to make to sound like a nice expression. So he wants to express himself, so he found it in a pasuk to express himself. Einay tzarech levarach, kiva shem eskaben lugima. So this is an opinion. This is yesh mishayma. Zakt al Rebbe. Even though I quoted this opinion, don't rely on what he says. Levarech aksiva levada, v'shum inyan she'eina rak mahara b'divrei Torah. So the Alter Rebbe holds that if he's only writing, then you don't
not
have
learning.
to. That's not called Ella. Roy l'chol kaisa b'divrei Torah. Everyone that's writing, the proper thing is she'yotze mipiv kisas tevus li'notzo lebracha u'batola, because otherwise it would be a bracha u'batola. Im eina oimer
Sukkah's a kohen.
sukkah birchas kahanim. Now, what does it mean? Sukkah birchas kahanim. We make birchas atayda, and after that we say birchas. Why do we say how's birchas kahanim? So we say birchas kahanim in order to be yotze limud, that you made a bracha and you have limud right. So he's saying that if the person made the bracha and he didn't say his writing and he didn't say any taida, so then he shouldn't make a bracha. So the best thing is, then he said, if he didn't make birchas kahanim, but maybe Baldi didn't make birchas kahanim, so he didn't say any taida yet. So if such is the case, Aishar davar min ataida, acha abracha k'may shenaigim. Then he should speak some taida while he's writing his chidushim.